Dr. Iraj Abedian is one of South Africa's most trusted and well-respected economists. He has been instrumental in crafting South Africa's macroeconomic and institutional reforms. Iraj has brought his vast knowledge of South Africa's industries to the boards of mining, real estate, finance, transportation, and engineering companies. This is our conversation. When we talk about economics, what are we actually talking about? What is economics?
At one level, economics is about day-to-day common sense things that we all do. At a macro level, it's about how the combination of all the activities that all of us do ends up putting the country on the path to prosperity and growth, or on the path of stagnation and loss of welfare.
For the person in the street, what role can that person play as a meaningful participant in an economic system?
Individual is the brick of this edifice called macroeconomics. So without bricks, you're not going to have a solid structure, and therefore each individual has a key role to play. Of course, the precondition for it is that the system that we spoke about it earlier is set in such a manner that enables the individual to unlock their God-given or their inherent capabilities and talents and passions. Of course, if we look at the reality out there, is that many societies, if not all of them, are not set necessarily to unlock the inherent capabilities of human beings. And so whether we want it or not, we are part of this economy. The question is with what motive, with what intention, and with what level of compassion and passion we engage with the economy.
To your mind, what is an ideal economic system?
Human beings are essentially complex beings intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and socially. Now, an ideal economic system is about an economic system that caters for all those different elements of a complex human being.
So you're saying that the way we view economics and the system is inextricably human. Now, how does that relate to the notion of autonomous market forces? Is there such a thing as an autonomous market force?
Of course not. Autonomous market forces, much like state organs or systems, are the byproduct of, or the construct of some or other human being or group of human beings who've designed them to operate that way. And they cannot operate out of their own. For example, no state entity can operate without human beings, without some designer, some human intellect behind it.
Is it disingenuous then to say, leave it to the market forces?
Deeply. As the system evolves, then everybody must play it according to the norms. So in a way, you have to leave it to the markets. Much like, let's look what we better relate to. Let's look at the game of soccer, or any game that you like, any team game. What do? You set some norms, and you say this is do's and don'ts. Well, let's play.
It seems that we struggle with a uniform set of rules for many things in life. How do we talk about a uniform set of rules when it comes to macroeconomics? Who sets those rules?
I think rules in every sphere of our human life, in our communal life especially, has had a history of adaptive evolutionary process. It means we have started with a set of rules. We tested them. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work. Some of it we liked, some of it we did not like as a society. And the basis of our liking was whether or not it was conducive to communal welfare.
What is prosperity? Is it merely the accumulation of stuff, the acquisition of stuff?
Definitely not. Prosperity is a condition in which human beings, at an individual as well as communal level, they have their material needs met, their intellectual and social needs met, and very importantly, their spiritual and moral needs are met. If we find the situation, again in an evolutionary manner, if we can find a set of rules that are conducive to meeting the needs at a material, intellectual, of course physical, and the spiritual sides of human beings, that is prosperity.
What, to your mind, is sustainability?
Sustainability means conducting our economic system in such a manner that we can have our needs met without undermining or compromising the needs of future generations to be met. That is the sort of scientific definition of sustainability at an environmental level. However, when it comes to wider issues of sustainability, for example, what is socio-political sustainability? What is economic sustainability? What is financial sustainability? And very importantly, what is human emotional sustainability? We cannot have a society where it's riddled with a whole lot of emotions and commotions that leads to all kinds of crimes, suspicions, and lack of welfare.
You speak often about values, social cohesion. How does social value or social cohesion relate to economics?
Economics is inherently a value system. Why? Because human societies cannot function without values. Either those values are explicit or implicit. Often we don't want to talk about those values, but it's implicit in what we do. For example, a society that condones and promotes corruption. What values? Everybody talks about, no, we want to be honest, we want to have integrity, we want to have probity, etc., etc. But you look at there and they say, none of it's present.
There seems to be a core conviction when it comes to a transaction or when it comes to deriving value from any decision. And it seems to be rooted in the fact that the pie is just so big. And the more players that come to the table, the pieces of the pie get smaller. Is there an alternative way of looking at transactions? Is the pie finite?
Definitely not. If the pie was finite, our forefathers wouldn't have left anything for us. In fact, the pie is increasing and is proportionally increasing, proportional to the degree to which we all contribute to it. And it's interesting that many societies assume that it's a zero-sum game, which is another way of saying the pie is so much, if you take more of it, I'll have the less of it. And therefore the fight and the tensions and the struggles in socio-political term happens. If we conceptualize the pie as an ever enlarging in proportion to how much we unlock each individual's talents, suddenly the pie is no longer, it's not a zero-sum game, it's a win-win game. And that's the modern history of human beings.
Is capitalism our best shot at a better world?
Elements of capitalism are good. There is no system that is perfect at the moment, and we all know it. It's for the first time in the history of humankind that globalization has brought us to be an integrated and increasingly integrating sum, no matter which island, which continent we live on. Now, it's for the first time that we can talk about the collective of human beings. That being this case, all these subsystems that were developed in isolation, they have to now clash. From that clash will evolve a set of bad experiences, crises, lessons, if you like. At the junction that we're still talking about communism, capitalism. We'll go around, where is communism? China is the most capitalistic society you have. Where is socialism? Europe, Western Europe. Where is capitalism? US is becoming a lot more socialistic than socialists were once upon a time. So all these systems are in a state of transition, and therefore not capitalism, nor communism, nor socialism, nor any other populism that we can talk about on its own is good anymore. Does it have elements that we should adopt? Without a doubt. In socialism, there are many good elements that we must pull out. In communism, there are notions that we must pull out. That doesn't mean accepting the system. It means that there are some lessons in it that we need to do, and likewise in capitalism. There are elements of capitalism that are very, very constructive. They have proven to be useful. We need to pull them out as we search for a new system.
You speak about conflict. Is it between the have and the have-nots? Because it seems that capitalism has produced a world where the majority of wealth resides with a vast minority of people.
One element of global conflict or national conflict is the issue of economic disparities. But even if you had no disparities, other forms of conflict would arise. Not because of material needs, because of other needs. So the hierarchies of human needs are such that when you meet one of them, the human being moves to focus on the next one. And if in that sphere the society is not set up to be fair and equitable to individuals, to allow them participation, to allow them a voice, if you prefer, then conflict this time will be not because means of material means are disparately distributed, because access to control decision making is not properly done. You meet that one, you go to the next layer of needs.
What are our greatest challenges in South Africa, and how are we going to overcome them?
We have inherited a very tortured past. We have inherited 300-400 years of colonialism, the adverse effect of crass capitalism, and we've superimposed on it racist apartheid regime. So you get a really blend of all the troubles that you can think of. And yet the society has got inherent capabilities, and the economy has got fantastic resource base. As much as we would like to focus, and often in the media and in the political discourse, the emphasis is on the problems. The reality is that the society, as well as the economy, by that I mean the resource base of the economy, are robust enough and rich enough to meet the needs. What we need to do is to begin to introduce a set of norms. 20 years ago, almost to the date, we introduced a set of norms to do away with the racism, to do away with the past. And we enter the democratic, and more specifically a constitutional democratic dispensation. That has helped us to think differently, to see each other from a racial point of view differently, and to recognize that our collective welfare is interlinked. Now we've got to go beyond that and talk about a set of norms that are conducive to resolving the remaining issues. First and foremost, material needs. We cannot have this disparity of income that we have in South Africa. Earlier on, we were talking about the global disparities. Those global disparities are in a very typical microcosmic way captured in the South African economy. You have the minority of South Africans having control and the benefit of the majority of wealth. That is not sustainable. Can we resolve them? Of course. Can we do it instantly? No. Can we do it over 20 to 25 years? Yes, provided today we make decisions about a set of norms that would govern the economy.
What does South Africa look like in the medium to long term?
I can't tell you exactly what it looks like, but I can tell you, or I can predict, that it will be a society that would have, because of the crisis that we have to tackle, the crisis of human, economic, political, and moral dimensions, we will have to hammer out a new dispensation. It will look a society that is a lot more compassionate, a lot less brutal, a lot more sensitive to the realities of human beings and their needs.
Why do you do what you do? Why do you spend your life poring over macroeconomic policy issues and generally in the economic world?
Economics is my passion. I thrive in it. I like to understand it, and I use it as a means of making a contribution to the society. An artist, a singer, a dancer makes a contribution by expressing their talents. I'm trying to express my contribution and make a service to the society and serve the community by better understanding economics and putting it into practice to the best of my ability.
Iraj, thank you very much for joining us today here at the Table Bay. A little thank you from us and from Robert Daniel. Feel free to go pick up a surprise gift just here at the waterfront.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Cheers.